Welcome to the Human Size Podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Crystal, and today we're just going to talk about what's going on in our leadership journey, in our hearts, in our life, all of that.
Yeah. So recently you have introduced me to the CVI.
The Core Values Index.
Yep, Core Value Index. And it's a personality profile. It separates you basically into 4 different groups. There's the builder, merchant, banker, and innovator.
Yes.
Yes. I am a builder. And unfortunately, the builder's unhealthy conflict strategy is intimidation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't like that that's been revealed to me.
Okay, well, let's stop a little bit and talk about, well, intimidation has its reasons, right? Builder's my third. No, it doesn't. Not healthy. So there's, just to give context to listeners, like it's really based on like it says your core values, like what drives you and like who you are at your core being and how that plays out and how you interact and how you conflict strategies you're saying and what are your values that you hold, whether it's truth and power or I can't even remember them. We should probably bring it up, but we'll link to it in the notes just so people are interested. Off the top of my head, I can't remember them in the moment perfectly, but it's really how we all have one primary one and one secondary one. Yeah. So the builder is more of like the power, and the merchant is more the relational. It is the holding love and truth, I believe it is. Yeah. And the innovator is I get these two mixed up, wisdom. Yes. Holding wisdom and then compassion. And the banker is knowledge and something good. The second one. Bankers are lowest for both of us, if I'm correct. Do you remember? Did you take that? You didn't take it, or did you?
I did take it, but I don't remember what the banker is.
Okay.
He's not a banker.
You're not a banker either. Okay,
no.
What are you?
I am an innovator merchant.
Okay. That's just...
Yeah. You know what's frustrating is if we had a banker in the room, they would be able to list them all.
And they would especially know what the banker was. But anyway, because we're all operating on these different things and we show up differently in conflict and we show up differently when we're healthy, when we're unhealthy, just like other personalities. But this one's been really, really helpful, right? Yeah. And so you're a banker merchant.
I'm a builder merchant. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
Bankers are wonderful, but you're not a banker.
Bankers are wonderful. I also struggle the most with bankers. So
right, probably because it's your lowest.
It's my lowest.
Yeah. And your builder's profound. So it's like really high, and then your merchant is second, but it's even like it's pretty far, even though it's high too. Mm-hmm. And then mine is merchant innovator. So we're flipped, me and Adam, and my builder is right there up close to them, and then my banker is like a little baby banker. It's only 6 out of the scale of whatever. So so the builder is where I actually go to a lot because it's my third one, but it's like I think it's the place, and I'm still novel in learning this, but they say that in conflict it's healthiest to go to your third value, which I think is because you're not as maybe heart connected to it, or like it's not, all those passions aren't flaring up as quickly. But I have operated in builder a lot because it's been something needed in context of teams that I'm in, and it's a place I go, I think, because I feel safe, because I know what does power do, which is the healthy conflict strategy. Yeah. But anyway, so I relate to you in the builder, but I was dealing with that unhealthy part of my builder this week too. I think the intimidation, wanting to go there and just move things.
Yeah.
So
with anything, personality profile test, and with this one, it has been in my life. It's kind of like when you buy a new car and you see your car everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I think, like for me, being a builder, I struggle with going to intimidation. Right, I will make someone do something. Right. So it sounds so terrible.
Yeah. It does. You're a horrible
because
person.
It is terrible. But because it's new, I knew I already did that, but now my level of awareness is so much higher that I do it more than what I realized.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
The awareness part
of
it?
Awareness, yeah.
Has it been helpful, though, to be aware that you're going to that space?
Yeah, extremely helpful. But also, like, I do have a high merchant, like, which is my love for people.
Yeah.
And it's been helpful and hurtful because, I mean, maybe I do need to hurt a little bit about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm intimidating. I'm realizing there's some more relational damage I was doing.
Yeah.
That I was realizing. So it's helpful, but also I'm in the early stages of realizing some damage I've done
Okay.
that I was unaware of previously. So it's painful.
Yeah, it's painful. Hard to hold
Yeah.
and move forward. With my learning of this and kind of being able to utilize it to understand a little bit why things are draining or things that feel conflicted inside of me. I was realizing with the builder where I go to a lot, and I was this week in stress, and I was dealing with some grief recently and some big emotions, and I think that's when I tend to go to the unhealthy. I just get frustrated, I think, or just exasperated. But what I was realizing about myself is my merchant is higher, so we're kind of flipped in that. And my merchant the whole time is like, because that's who I really tend to lean to, is just like so worried about everybody and how they feel, or I have to flip the switch. And I think when I get unhealthy, I flip the switch and I duct tape my merchant and I put it in a closet or something, because like I felt it this week and I was like, that felt different. I don't know if that was healthy or unhealthy, because I was needing to be in this other space, but it also felt like a little bit dangerous. But I think with being something that's always, I think, brought to when we led together on a team, you were always very good with relational, but I think understanding these parts of ourselves and how they are different, like our primary values, like why you can, make a hard line and say, I'm not going to do that, and then walk away. And like, this is what I know what I need to do. And even though you care about people, my experience, I feel like you have an easier time to saying, I'm just not going to do that. And then for me, that's so much harder, because I don't know. That is my primary thing that drives me, is like relationship and connection. And that can be healthy or unhealthy. But anyway, I just noticed that's a difference between us.
Yeah,
Though you care, you're able to kind of move forward.
I'm able to duct tape and throw my merchant in the trunk a lot quicker.
Yeah, apparently. That is probably, I'm sure anybody who knows the CVI is probably very inaccurate analogies and unhealthy. We're still learning, and this is our filter. But yeah, it's been helpful to see how those things come out in a healthy and unhealthy way. With the merchant, their unhealthy conflict strategy is manipulation, which I'm realizing comes out in a lot of different forms. So like, just trying to get someone to fill your cup relationally by different ways, like, be maybe passive aggressive, or you making them feel bad, or guilty them, and how that can happen so quickly because you're so wanting to feel that connection and that relational thing to fill your cup instead of something a little more healthier.
Yeah, and I think, and for me, one of the blessings and challenges with this is I'm leading my team through this, and I'm the builder.
Yeah.
And so the feedback has been high lately, and which we've designed it to be that way, because I need help as a builder. Like, I miss builders are non-detail oriented. Because I'm not detail oriented, I'm able to run a lot of different things.
Yeah, and you're not just a builder. You don't have that banker's not very high. So someone might be a builder banker and have those, but like in your unique thing, you don't have that. Yeah.
Nope. And so we've been discussing, like, they were like, well, we don't know how to talk to you when you're in heavy builder. And so we were working on different plays to like how to get my attention when I'm hurting.
Yeah.
And harming and not aware. And so they were like, well, should we tell you when your tone's bad? And I'm like, I don't care if my tone's bad. Just do what I say.
You should care.
But what we realized is, for me, if you want to engage my merchant, don't tell me my tone's bad. Tell me how my tone makes you feel. Because that'll engage. I'll switch out and into love.
Like an I statement?
Yeah. Like, hey, I feel like you're shaming me right now, even not done properly, because again, I'm a high builder, low banker. But like how my actions are affecting someone will switch me into merchant right away. And so, but it was just comical because they were saying, well, how do we tell you if tone's bad? And I'm like, are we seriously having this conversation? My tone? I don't care. So which said I was in heavy builder.
Yeah, sounds very sweet. Adam, have you thought through like learning? Has it been impactful to you at all?
Well, I just took the CVI online, but I haven't gotten access to any of the other information because I just did the free part of it.
Right.
So all I know is that I am a innovator merchant. And that's about it. I mean, I know for me, the innovator, I think, has to do with like being able to find different ideas and stuff like that. But that's about as far as I got.
Okay, so that's kind of good because you're hearing us talk from a perspective that doesn't know much about what we're talking about except the basic words.
Right. Yeah.
So intuitively, does it kind of make sense? The different types, the banker, builder, innovator.
Yeah, it does, and it's because I've heard some of the terminology and stuff before in my conversations with Zach.
Okay.
So we talk a lot about like especially his builder and how to talk with Zach and support him as a builder.
Yeah, that's been that one I think has been really helpful, especially I think with you because like as a team member because of the personality profiles that we've done when you were on the team didn't really hit or bring understanding to that part that was kind of convoluted of why you were so strong in some areas but also so relational in other areas.
For sure. Yeah. And for me, in the way I was raised and brought up, the big part, my builder is really extreme. But that was also an area of my life that, and I don't fault my parents at all, but that was pushed down.
Right.
It was looked at as almost sinful parts of that builder. And so I'm talking about it a lot right now because I am unaware. So I have just so much unawareness in those parts of who I am and how to operate it in a healthy way. I very much know when I'm unhealthy and I'm going to intimidation right now.
Well, that's good.
But to know, hey, how do I'm learning parts of the good part of it, which I didn't realize before. For example, intimidations, I mean, that sounds terrible, and it is terrible, the negative part. But the positive part, I'm a shield for my team.
Right.
And if anything's going wrong, they find great safety. And, Zach, because I look confident no matter how bad it is.
Right.
And they're like, he's fine. We'll be fine.
Right. And the healthy conflict strategy of the builder is what does power do, I believe. Yeah. So, that's really profound. And I think that is something, you put words to something I think I've experienced with people that have a high builder merchant is they're able to, and I don't know if this is always true. I'm just like in my limited experience of using this and people I know is that there is that capacity, especially I think when they have the merchant to really hold things for people, like be like a shield is a good term, like be able to walk into hard situations or walk through or walk out of hard situations and still know that person's like got your back or they care about you. But they can maybe handle a little bit more than you can handle. And I feel like that gets kind of shared a bit with people, like when you coach and when you walk through things with them, when I've experienced and observed that.
Yeah. And there's beauty to every single one of these, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And I really found value. Our mutual friend, Jason, I was sharing with him just my journey, and he was like, you got to be careful because CVI is not a weapon.
Right.
It's supposed to, and it sounds like sometimes it's getting used against you as a weapon instead of how do we meet this person where they are. So like Adam was explaining, which I so appreciate, he tries to meet me where I am in Builder because we record videos together, stuff like that. And he's learned, hey, don't interrupt, raise your hand. when you want to stop.
Well, yeah, and one of the things that I've also appreciated in all of it as well too is that by knowing that he is a heavy builder, he's able to speak into my life and kind of push the ball a little bit. I get stuck, or I'll say things that I don't think through, and he'll just kind of nudge me and ask some good questions, and it's his builder wanting to move people in a direction, and that's, for me anyway, it's been a very positive thing.
Yeah, and I think, I'm not sure about this, I think as like an innovator, probably asking questions and thinking through the ideas is helpful for you, like instead of just being able to voice those and process that.
Yeah, because I think and maybe I'm mistaken, but as an innovator, you can come up with like 50 different solutions to a single problem and then just get stuck in thinking about all 50 all the time.
Exactly.
Where somebody like a builder is like, well, let's just pick something and we're going to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. That's actually where my husband and I are able to really meet is in the innovator space. We've realized as we've done the CVI, and it's brought understanding to why we did so well with a program called marriage coaching, because like we could come up with a plan together and like this is the plan that we're going to follow. And now there's a, my merchant would get out of control over here in my builder, but like we always had a plan that and that was a place that we really found health in our marriage by being able to meet in that space and like let's talk about all the solutions and then we'll agree on one. And having that we need that tool to help us like say, okay, this is the one we're going to agree on. But it was really a building experience for our relationship. And I realize now that's the one place that our CVI really overlaps strongly. And so we're able to meet in that innovator space.
That's cool. Yeah. And I don't know what your experience is with this. And now I want to get you more information, Adam. But the other thing that I'm finding impactful, but also very hard, is I'm doing unhealthy intimidation for me, or manipulation if I'm in the in my other spot where I like to migrate in. I'm recognizing which one of them offended in me after, and I'm slow to it. And so that's one of the most frustrating things with new tools is going, hey, this is super helpful. Man, I wish I would have figured this out 20 minutes ago when I blew my top.
Right. I wonder what you're sharing with us now, we're talking about the builder having that nature in you of being the quick to A to B. So that's what they talk about in the core values of just our communication style. And I think our processing style is often, if you're a builder, it's like A to B, and you'll get there, like whatever you need to do. It's not like about getting there the right way all the time, from what I understand and what I've experienced in that space. And then the merchant is more like the A's in the middle and the B's way out here around a spiraling circle, because you got to think and process through all the story and all the relationship in it and all the stuff. And then the innovator, like Adam was explaining, is the A idea is the start point, and then you got all these different ones coming out of it. You have 50 different ones around it that you could go, and then you have the banker who's A, B, or ABC, whatever, if it's a succession, but it's one box after the other that you got to think through and process in detail, or however that works for the banker. And I don't know where I was going with that. I was just thinking that was like, I think that what you're saying is sounds like part of your nature is like, that's one thing you're having to be aware of and fight against, because you're going to go to the A solution or A get mad, maybe is what it sounds like. But it's interesting with that story of yours with your family and how your nature was kind of working out, being in a context where it didn't quite know where it fit. Like I'm almost the opposite of you with that, where I had to be a builder because in my situation growing up, someone needed to help, needed to do something because there was a gap in that area. And so I think I learned very early on to lean into that because I had access to it. But what is different about being where you're at and where I'm at with the builder is I always feel bad. In the builder, I always feel bad because I feel like, and I realize now it's because I'm not a builder. Like I don't always feel bad. That's an extreme, but I often feel bad when I'm having to be strong and I feel like these two warring emotions. Like I really want to move the ball or the solution or help people get to the solution. But then I feel bad that, do they really feel good about it? Do they feel okay on the journey? And I'm like, it's so draining for me. And I'm realizing I've operated in that so heavily and it hasn't been the healthiest space because it's good to have access to it, but that's not who I really am. So if I'm always there, like in every situation, that starts to drain. I think you were having to do the opposite, right? Have to operate in the merchant, even though you have access to it and it's a strength for you. You're having to kind of be separated from this true top strength that you have.
Well, and as you're saying that, I'm like, that is such a key difference because I don't leave a room often going, oh, I wonder how they're feeling.
Yeah.
Unless I think I offended them.
Right.
And in an inappropriate way. But if I offended them and I wasn't sinful in it, I'm like, get over it. But I think...
I'm shaking my head. You can't see this.
But as you were talking, I was just thinking, it's just why it's so valuable because this interpretation of what someone's saying or what we're hearing, us three having slightly different, even being friends, we're going to perceive a situation very differently. And that's why this tool has been so helpful. And I think because we were discussing, I built my team subconsciously. I have really big gaps in my innovator and banker. It's really low. It's like riding a bicycle down a freeway. And my team is full of bankers and innovators. And it's like, oh, well, subconsciously,
you gravitated to those
to those people.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But now that I know that they're that way, it's like I was gravitating towards them, then getting frustrated at them for operating in their talents and abilities, right? And so
that's interesting. Do you think that that's kind of maybe could possibly negative side effect of awareness sometimes with these tools, where we have to be careful? Like you were saying, you feel like it was used against you too, but where we can become judgmental if we don't fully understand, or use it more as a tool to categorize people instead of using it for the primary purpose to understand ourselves and to be healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I think it is really valuable when you're building a team or working in a family dynamic or a business dynamic to have understanding of how the people around you operate, so that you can, cooperate with them well, love them well, and give them some grace. So, grace, Zach, not judgment, okay?
Yeah, great. Well, and just to acknowledge, like, so as a builder, are merchants this way too, where speed? Are they faster than the innovator and banker as well?
I don't think so at all.
Well, so my builder's very fast.
It's the opposite. I think they're the slowest. If we're just talking like the basic natures, I think they're like, let's go sit over here and let's talk.
That's true. You're going to be like a missions trip where no one's on time. And my builder's dying over here, and you're going to be having a conversation.
I'm always a little bit late, and I'm so sorry to the world, because this is true. But there's always like something that I need to take my time talking to somebody or doing something that has to do with making sure I get this done for somebody. Often it's like I'm talking to somebody, but it's like all the time. But that value definitely trumps the being on time.
That's cool.
Because that person matters. But being on time is good too, because that matters to the other people on the other side. It's complicated.
So that's where we are in our journeys.
Yeah.
We're angry.
We're sometimes angry, sometimes just want to talk. I think this is a valuable tool. Like, we'll put in the notes just a link to what it's about. And again, we're just 3 people just talking about something we're learning. But it's really cool to understand how you're made and be able to use that to connect with people better.
Yeah. So when you learn a new tool, you're going to be tempted to judge yourself. Mm-hmm. And like we were saying earlier, show your grace. Yeah. Because you're going to fail, but continue to fail forward.
You got this.